Yeah, I just did a video called High Volume Sunday Mornings with Levels That Damage Hearing, Yet Many Come. And it looks like this. Now it concerns a church in the Pittsburgh area that features loud rock music. And they were holding services outdoor in a tent structure. Now the issue is not exercise of religion, and many are misinterpreting it and saying, oh, they're allowed to exercise their religion. That is true, and that's not the issue. The issue is when the exercise of their religion imposes upon the community something that is not acceptable. And of course, what they're saying is not acceptable is their volume level. Now, this is not an issue about what they teach or what they practice or even when they teach or when they practice. This is an issue about the air and the music being so loud that it causes disturbances up to about a half a mile away. Now, I'm not there, so I don't know, but obviously the numerous complaints that have been filed eventually reached the point where a judge ordered an injunction against no more outdoor services. Now, the church was warned numerous times to please soften its volume, but it refused to do so. So there's a little more to this than just simply the noise volume, and I'm going to talk about some peripheral issues, meaning some spin-offs. But keep in mind, my original intent was just to talk about offending people through high volume. And I experienced this in a church whereby I put 2 sets of earplugs in my ears and covered my ears with my hands, and it was still bothersome. But that church I attended, it was all indoors. In other words, they were not projecting that level and that volume and that intensity to the public. So this is an issue of projecting the intensity volume to the public. And this is another video prior to the judge ordering an injunction to stop the services, and I want to pick up on some follow-up issues, peripheral issues about these new so-called modern churches that are basically using loud rock music. What is the nature of them? Where did they come from? And what is going on?
An old event center recently acquired by a company called Moses Land, L.L.C. back in May.
Okay, now take a look at the company. Moses Land, L.L.C. bought the property. Now, they will lease it to Revival Today, L.L.C. for $1 a year. Now, there's something going on there because they're both incorporated, and they list them in the documents as Inc. Moses Land Inc. bought the property, and they're leasing it to Revival Today Inc., which says to me that Revival Today is for profit. Now, many will not understand this, but it is something that a church can do. They can incorporate, but they incorporate as a 501c3. In other words, they are not there for profit. They have to declare whether they're for profit or non-profit. Now, it appears to me that the Revival Today so-called church is for profit. Now, I don't know for sure, but I've never seen a church listed in the headings as Inc., I-N-C, Revival Today Inc., Incorporated. So it looks like one large prophet bought it and is leasing it to another profit organization called Revival Today for $1 a year. So let's go on with this report. Remember, I'm talking about the peripheral issues, and basically the main issue is the noise and the volume as agitating the entire neighborhood.
Moses Land leased the property to Revival Today Church. Fast forward to this week, Revival is holding a week-long religious festival. That definitely does not have the blessing of Moon Township. The louder the festival gets, the louder the uproar.
A mile away.
For 8 hours. Music and sermons blasting early in the morning and late at night.
It's got the dogs in our neighborhood insane to add decibels. Birds are up all night as long as these people are screaming and singing.
I called the police 3 times at 6:20 in the morning when they were doing a sound check. When they were doing a sound check until 11 p.m. on Saturday night.
And what has happened with this group coming in is anything but neighborly.
And township supervisors agree this is not neighborly behavior. They requested a preliminary.
Okay, so back to the scripture, love God and love your neighbor as you love yourself. So there is in scripture the provision to love your neighbor. And that does extend to a church. So they should be meeting with the neighbors, and they should be implementing solutions that kind of show that they're moderating and compromising. But as far as I can tell from these news reports, there was no compromise and no mediating and no attempt to tone it down. Now, I'll play a little more of this, and then I'll get into more of those peripheral issues about, generally speaking, across the land, how these things are popping up all over the place.
Injunction to shut down the festival, for which Revival does not have a permit. But a judge apparently saw it differently.
We voted unanimously to do that, and she denied it. However, it's her understanding that they would have no further event.
Okay, this is not the most up-to-date report as of December the 19th, 2024. Yes, a judge did order an injunction that they were not permitted to do outdoor services after December the 26th, and then that will be reviewed, so I can maybe do a video on the most recent. The reason I'm showing this is I want to talk about how does this stuff occur and who's behind it. So we have to go to the sources, which are the inks. The inks. Not the jinx, the inks. Okay? So this is a news article that appeared about this situation, and it refers to that this property was bought by Moses Land, L.L.C. and is leased to Revival Today, Inc. Now, I've been in church life for 42 years, and nobody has ever referred to any of the churches I've served with Inc. Incorporated. Now, once again, many churches incorporated, but they incorporated under the provision of being non-profit. So, could this mean that they are for profit? I'm only raising the question. I don't know for sure. Trying to find information. So they are appealing these notices, okay? In other words, they don't feel they're violating anything, all right? Now, what is happening across our land? This Revival Today group has a site in Pittsburgh, and I think they have one in Texas also. This is the Pittsburgh site, or a campus. They call them campus, Fort Worth, Texas. Whoop, okay, I guess I'm off the internet right at the moment. You need to realize that a lot of what you're seeing is business. That people are corporations are buying up properties, and then they are planting these so-called churches. And they're not really churches at all. If they are, they're churches for profit, which is unheard of in my book. Churches are to be 100% non-profit, meaning they are run by the gifts of God's people. They are not run by making profits. Now, over the years, I've ran into the issue of fundraising and selling things, and that constitutes another video. But I served one church where they made up to about $40,000 a year selling sausages. I was there as an interim. And I was a little bit frightened they might lose their nonprofit status. But I was only there for a few months, maybe six, 7 months. So we'll go to Fort Worth, Texas. Okay, now they have another so-called campus in Fort Worth, Texas. It looks like they have one in Watauga, Texas as well. So they're associated with this Moses Land Incorporated, L.L.C. So the deal is Moses Land, L.L.C. bought the facility, and let me tell you something, knowing that area up there in Moon Township, and taking a look at that facility from the air, you could see you were talking millions of dollars. So some outside source, Moses L.L.C., buys this and then rents it for $1 a year to Revival Today. So something's going on here. Now, could it be that it's all just simply business as usual? Trying to use the name of church to make major profits. Financial profits. Obviously, they're about more and more and more people coming. And the more people that come, the more giving occurs. And I'm very, very, very suspicious of these now so-called modern churches that appear out of nowhere, and they have brand new facilities, and they have large crowds of people attending, and they're using blasting rock music to attract the people. So what is going on? Now here's that paragraph about, in its application for conditional use, Revival Today, which leases the Coraopolis Heights Road property, that's the property that's making the loud noises on Sunday morning, from Moses L.L.C. for a base rent of $1 per year, states that it intends to use property as a church for the observation and practice of the Christian religion, including, without limitation, outdoor Sunday worship services. Now, ordinarily that would be all right. However, there's not a respect for the community and the volume and intensity that goes out almost. That one woman in that one report, she said a mile away. I was only using half a mile away. Now, I'm not there. I've never been there. So I can't give any personal testimony or recollection. However, I can tell you that I was in a church, so-called church, and it was indoor, and the rock music was so intensive. I had 2 sets of earplugs in my ears, plus I had my hands over my ears, and it was still bothersome. Now I'm going to tell you something, folks. God delivered me from the rock music world, and it is demonic. I don't care how much you like it. I don't care about your favorite group. Rock music is demonic and has a demonic message, sinful message. Now, it has moved into the church. And how did it get there? Well, you have to see my series on the psychedelic Jesus and the movement of Chuck Smith out there in California, late 60s, bringing in the world of hippies and drug addicts and never changing a thing. No demands to repent. And then establishing the whole concept of rock music in the so-called church. That's under Chuck Smith. I have a whole series on it and my videos there. You can check them out on the rock music of Jesus and the psychedelic Jesus and that sort of thing. The contemporary Christian music thing, which was just allowing the devil's music into the church. Now, back to this issue. Revival Today, Inc. is in cahoots with, in partnership with, Moses Land L.L.C. Whatever that is, I've been trying to find info on that. So these are the peripheral issues, but back to the original issue that we wanted to talk about was the noise level. Now this is an older video, and this is the supervising board, I guess, in Moon Township that's hearing the case, and he just talked about a judge did not issue an order. Now, that's an old video. As of December 2024, yes, a judge did issue an injunction video order to cease and desist with the summer outdoor services. But he issued it effective December 26, so I guess it wouldn't matter to them. They'll have to go indoors.
That's there. And she kept it open. Yeah.
So for the rest of the week, thousands will flock to Coriopolis Heights Road for an event that some here find objectionable. On Revival's website, for example, the church includes homosexuality in a list of immoral acts, along with bestiality and incest.
But as a queer woman who will need IVF or a treatment like that to have children, when you are allowing a church like this to exist in our community, it is sending a signal to people like...
Now you're seeing the bias of the media. They're trying to turn it into this whole issue of what they believe. Now that's not the issue. So get that out of your mind, all right? The issue is the volume of music, and that's it. They're allowed to practice their beliefs no matter what. No matter what this woman says at the council, they're allowed to hold certain beliefs according to their doctrine. And I'm certainly not in favor of what she is saying, because homosexuality is sinful and an abomination. And so is lesbianism. Need to be repented of. So please don't misunderstand this video. It's about the volume in the air and respecting the community.
That we are not welcome here.
We did drive onto the property earlier tonight, and after being initially welcomed in, representatives from the church soon asked us to leave. Someone did tell us that they're aware of this issue and they're working with the township and police on the matter. But we get a better idea of how the church really feels by a court document filed in response to that request for injunction. They say, quote, "The real purpose of this lawsuit is to stifle the free exercise of religion." Reporting from Moon Township.
Okay, now, that's really not true. And again, these people that are running this church, they're not really loving God, or they would love their neighbor. And they would tone it down. There's no need for the intensity of volume. That the volume is vibrating windows, and the volume now, according to that one woman, is heard up to a mile away. And by the way, incidentally, what is this doing to the hearing of the individuals who come to these so-called services? Why are they so naive? Why are they wanting to come Sunday after Sunday and subject their ears to this? Now, I raised that question in that church that I was telling you about, that I went to. I said to myself, why is it that these folks come Sunday after Sunday after Sunday and subject their ears to this? Because the volume levels were higher than the volume levels I experienced as a youth, growing up and listening to rock bands and rock music and rock concerts and some big names. And that incidentally would have been in your late 60s and early 70s. And by the year 73, I was saved and delivered from the power of this rock music. Now, obviously, in my view, the devil is using it again. But this time, he's using it in the name of the church. Now, when I was growing up, rock music was not used